Hi everyone, good morning. Let us start with day 40 of our regular SAP FICO session. The topics that we will be covering today are a mix of standard costing, material ledger, actual costing, and some of the important settings from the material management in order to do the production startup. So after all this configuration that I have listed down here, we'll be able to do the production startup, which is nothing but the CKM start transaction code, which is a very famous transaction codes within actual costing and material ledger from the controlling perspective. So let us look at each of these steps, how we perform these in SAP. Let me log in into the SAP. Going into the SPRO menu, the first activity that we have in our list is to activate the ML. As we know, the ML is a material ledger which falls under the product cost controlling as a submodule. So here we have the activating the material ledger for the valuation area. Going to activate, let's search for our RC ID is our plant. So the material ledger is activated at the plant level. The valuation area is RCID, wherein I say this material ledger is active as the tick mark and price determination is 3. We'll further discuss the meaning of those price determination 3, but as of now I want you to remember that only the materials that have price determination 3 will be considered for actual costing. This is how you activate the material ledger. The next step that we have in our list is maintaining number range for the ML documents. So as we know, the document types are designed in OBA 7 transaction codes. Let's go into this. And here we see material ledger. ML is the document type. And to this document type, we see the number in that is assigned is 47. And we also know the T code to create the number in is FBN1. So going into this and RCII, going into the interval, and here I have set the number as 47, starting with 47 all zeros to 47 all nines for the year 2025. Let's go back. Let's take the next step. The next step is the configuring of the dynamic prices. So under the actual costing and material ledger, we have the node configure the dynamic prices changes. So here for my valuation area, which is RCID, I have configured the price release as dynamic price releases as active. That is, the high level meaning of this is the standard price of one period would become the actual price of the subsequent period. This is the configuration. We'll discuss more detail about these in our upcoming sessions. But as of now, I want you to remember that if the dynamic price is active, the standard price of one period becomes the actual price of the subsequent period. The next configuration in the list is the material structure update. This too we have under the actual costing and material ledger itself, wherein we have under the material update we have defined material update structure. Here I have created RCI as my update structure, and under this RCI I have B plus and V plus. So B plus represents the procurements and V plus represents the consumption. So this is the setting that you had to do here. The next is assigning the material update structure to the valuation area. That is, we have the node over here to assign the material update structure to the valuation area, which is very simple to just link the material update structure that we just created with the plant. The next step that we have is activating the actual costing. So under the actual costing, here we have the step to activate the actual costing. And here you see for my plant RCID, I have activated the actual costing, but as of now I have chosen the activity update is not relevant to price determination. That is, we will be executing the MFN1 for order evaluation and the activities cost will be updated over the order based on the actual activity rate from MFN1 T code and not by the actual costing. We'll discuss more detail about this, but this is how you activate it. Means you have to select the actual costing, tick mark over here, and then here you can go depending upon the scenario. What are those 1 and 2? We should select the relevant option over here. I will discuss more detail about there is so much detail about the uh, option that we choose from here, either 1 or 2. I'll discuss more in detail, but as of now I have chosen that activity update is not relevant to price determination. That is, we'll be executing the MFN1 T code in simplicity. What is MFN T code? We'll discuss later when we do the actual transactions. Let's go to next. The next step in our activity is activating the actual cost component split. So here we have the node to activate the actual cost component split, and here we have to select the tick mark, which is as simple. The next is creating the costing variants for the group and profit center valuation as well. As you already know, in our last session we have created the costing variant for the legal valuation, but in our case we also have group and profit center valuation for which we have to create the costing variant for the standard and costing variant for the group and profit center valuation as well. So the main prerequisite is the creation of the costing type, which will show we have created R1 for group valuation, and again R2 for the profit center valuation. So as you are already aware, how do we create the costing variant? I'm not going deep dive because we have discussed in our last session. I'm directly going into define costing variant, and here we have designed the cost ZPC1 and ZPC2. ZPC1 is for group valuation and ZPC2 is for profit center valuation. Let me show the details of ZPC1. So here you see for the ZPC1, the costing type that is assigned is for the group valuation. This is only the difference between the legal and group and profit center costing variants and nothing other. All other things are exactly the same. The next thing, in the ZPC2 we have the profit center valuation, profit center costing type active. And if I show in the PPC1, which is for the standard costing, in the legal valuation we see the 01 costing type is activated, and the meaning of 01 is, you can see over here in the definition of the costing type, that is it will update the legal valuation. It is for legal valuation. So this is how we have created two additional costing variants, which are ZPC1 and ZPC2, which represents the group and profit center valuation respectively. The next, these are all the settings from the material management, but we'll quickly have a look at them. The first one is setting up the tolerance limits for price variance for the purchase orders. For this, we need to go into the material management. Under the material management, let's go into the purchasing, and then let's go into the production order. No, sorry, purchase order. And here we have the setting the tolerance limits for the price variance. So here for our company code, we have to set up the PE and SE, which are standard tolerance keys that are provided for the in the material management module. So I have just assigned the PE and SE to my company code RCII. The next that we have to do is creating the purchase group. So to create the purchase group, we have under the purchasing, in the material management under the purchasing, we have it over here to create the purchase group. So as we know that in India the purchasing is centralized, so here we have created the purchasing group as RCI, which is only one RCI, only one purchasing group will be responsible to purchase everything for RCI company code. Okay, the next step in our sequence is maintaining the plant parameters. So under the general setting for the material management, Let us check if it is here or not. Yeah, that is not under the general setting, rather it's under the inventory and physical inventory management and physical inventory, wherein we have the plant parameters as one of the node. So here for my plant RCID, these are the configuration that I have made. These configurations are more from MM module, that is the material management module. So for creation of this, simply what you have to do is the standard one is here. Similarly, you have to copy it to your plant. That is what I have done over here. The next activity in our case is setting up the tolerance limits for the goods receipt. So under the inventory management, physical inventory, we have the goods receipt, and here we have the node to set the tolerance limits. So here we have to assign B1, B2 and VP, which are the standard tolerance keys that are provided in the material management. We should be assigned to our company code. So I have assigned all those three tolerance keys to my company code. Let's go back. The next step that we have is to set up the tolerance limits for the invoice. So for this, under the material management, let's look where this is, right? We have the logistics invoice verification, and here we have invoice block, and under the invoice block we have the node to set the tolerance limits. Here we have to assign two tolerances, that are BD and ST, to our company code. So if I show you for my company code, I have assigned the BD and ST as the tolerance keys that are coming from the material management. These all the steps from maintaining the tolerance limits for the purchase order until maintaining the tolerance limits for the logistics invoice verification is not the part of the controlling consultants, but it is the part of the material management or the procurement consultants, which they will be doing. But since we do not have a separate consultants from material management, we have done this on our own. Now all our configurations are completed, and we can do the production startup before creating any material master in the system. So to do the production startup, we execute the transaction code CKM start, and once we do complete the CKM start transaction code, we will be able to create the material and do all the transactions over that material. To activate it, simply we have to give our plant, and if you want to execute in background, you simply press background processing. If you want to execute in the front end, then you remove it, and here is a button for doing the test run and the update run. So once you have filled the plant and selected those two parameters depending on your case, we have to select, simply click on execute, and we have to make sure that there are no errors in the test run. Only when there is no error in the test run, we have to proceed for the update run by removing the test run. So in our case, I did not get any error depending upon the configuration that I have done until now. So with all the configuration that we have done until now, this production startup will be successfully done without any error. So that's all for today. I hope you have a fair understanding of the meaning of all those configurations that you are doing and how these configurations are done in the system. We'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you.